A controversial immigration lottery opens today in Canada. Applicants have 3 weeks to apply to sponsor a relative. There are 10,000 spots open, and then only those selected would then be allowed to formally apply. The government is returning to this system after last year's first come, first served program was plagued by technical issues. But some advocates say this process is just gambling with people's lives. Is there a better way? Lou Denzaglin is an immigration lawyer at LJD Law, and he joins me live from Mississauga, Ontario. Lou, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
There are 10,000 spots all through luck of the draw. What do you think of this process?
I would agree with the statement that it's playing a bit on gambling with people's lives. There is a certain expectation that Canadian citizens and permanent residents would be able to reunite with their loved ones, especially their parents and grandparents.
10,000 is a lot, though, isn't it?
It's quite a drop from last year's numbers. Last year's numbers were projected to be at 20,000. Prior to that, it was 10,000, and then there was a supplementary 7,000.
Okay, what's wrong with the process?
Well, first of all, it doesn't really take into consideration that the levels are really low this year. I understand that the following year after, meaning in 2022, there would be an augmentation of the number. But it sort of gives us a glimpse as regards to the level or intake of permanent residents that Canada will have for 2021, more or less a spillover of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Okay, and so what I hear you saying is that it's not necessarily about the numbers.
It certainly is for a lot of people, because the more slots that there would be allotted for parents and grandparents, the more chances that you could be drawn from the lottery. Prior to that, it was a first come, first served basis kind of application. You have to put in your notice of interest. And if you're one of the lucky ones at the beginning of the queue, then you would have that invitation to apply. But now, even if you were the best candidate on the pile, you wouldn't have a chance, because if you were not drawn, then too bad, so sad.
Okay, so it eliminates the idea that somebody looks at your application and says, "Oh, you seem like an amazing candidate for Canada. We're gonna put you into the system."
Certainly, and the 10,000 is the allotment. However, we have to take into consideration that not the whole 10,000 would be allotted, because certainly those applicants who would be in the pool, they would not be all qualified. For example, I believe it was in 2019 that they had issues with regards to the number of applicants. Not everyone who got an invitation were qualified, as it turned out.
What would be a better way of doing this?
The government needs to continue a transparent dialogue with stakeholders in order to actually maintain levels. Again, there is a certain expectation that Canadian citizens and permanent residents would be able to reunite. From the perspective of those choosing Canada as their home, this is important. It's one of the factors that gets into the calculus when they make the decision actively to choose Canada over countries such as the UK or Australia.
Okay, so how does it work in those cases?
I'm not privy to their program specifically, but definitely there needs to be a conversation with respect to the levels. Minister Mendicino has committed to 10,000 for 2021. They're opening that, but certainly I don't expect the 10,000 to be exhausted just so easily, because not everyone is going to qualify, despite the adjustments in the public policy easing up on the minimum necessary income.
What does it mean to somebody to be able to sponsor their parent or grandparent to come to this country?
It hits heartstrings, Carol. One of the choices that people make one of the decision factors that they use to make that decision to choose Canada is essentially the ability to bring their parents in. The other fact is that a lot of families rely on their extended family to take care of their children. So it's a part of the extended family, but at the same time, it's also part of maintaining some sort of balance within the economy of the household.
All right. Lou Denzaglin is an immigration lawyer at LJD Law in Mississauga. Lou, thank you for your perspective.
Thanks for having me.